The back porch of a southern home in late July is the one piece of the natural world you believe you control. You leave the yellow porch light on. You listen to the drone of the window unit. You step out in a t-shirt to let the dog out into the humid, heavy air. And you do not think, not once, about the dark tree line at the edge of your grass. It is the safest ground you know, and almost nothing living in that fit green darkness has ever agreed to that arrangement. Most lists of dangerous animals send you somewhere far away, to the deep Amazon or the Australian outback. This one does not move an inch from the American South. We are ranking 9 massive insects and arthropods by 2 things at once. First, by how likely each already is to be within 100 feet of your air-conditioned home. And second, by how completely they shatter your comforting idea of what a bug is supposed to be. These are not tiny things you can simply step on. These are predators logged in real numbers by state wildlife departments and university entomologists. And here is the shape of it. We start with the heavy, armored giants that announce their presence by hitting your window glass. We end with the silent hunter, the one you cannot see from your back door, because it is the one you have probably already carried inside your house without knowing it. By the time we reach number 1, the phrase, hidden in plain sight, is going to stop being a figure of speech. If you have a yard, a porch, or even a driveway in this part of the country, go ahead and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, and it connects you with people who actually want to know what is living in the dark. And tell me one thing, where in the world are you watching from, and what is the strangest, largest creature you have ever found on your own property? Drop it in the comments. I read them. Now, the countdown. Number 9, the Eastern Hercules beetle. You hear this one before you see it. It sounds like a golf ball being dropped onto your driveway from a second-story window. When you walk over to investigate the noise, you do not find a stone. You find an insect the size of a lemon resting on the concrete. The Eastern Hercules beetle, native to the woods of South Carolina, Georgia, and stretching all the way across to East Texas, is one of the heaviest insects in North America. An adult male can measure up to 3 inches long, armed with a massive set of primary horns protruding from its thorax and head. Its shell is a pale mottled olive green, designed to blend in with the lichen and rotting logs of the deep southern hardwood forests. We are conditioned to think of beetles as small, skittering things, something you can sweep off the porch with a broom. But when you pick up a Hercules beetle, it has weight. It has gravity. It clings to your skin with tiny, sharp claws that feel less like an insect and more like a small bird gripping a branch. They spend years underground as massive, blind grubs feeding on decaying wood, only emerging in the suffocating heat of midsummer to find a mate. They are entirely harmless to humans. They have no venom, no stinger, and no interest in biting you. But the danger of the Hercules beetle is psychological. It is the sudden, jarring realization that the woods behind your house are capable of producing an invertebrate so large and heavy that it makes a sound when it walks. Number 9 is the gentle giant that proves the insects here do not need to stay small. Number 8, the giant water bug. You would not think of the retention pond behind your office or the shallow end of a suburban swimming pool in Florida as a hunting ground. You check for alligators, you check for snakes, and if the water is clear, you assume it is safe. But you are not looking closely at the dead leaves resting on the bottom. The giant water bug, known across the South as the toe biter, routinely reaches 4 inches in length. It is a flat, brown, predatory insect built like a military stealth drone. It does not scuttle, it swims, and it does so with terrifying efficiency. Armed with massive raptorial front legs resembling crab claws, it waits perfectly still in the shallows. What people do not understand about the giant water bug is that it does not hunt other bugs. It hunts vertebrates. It actively catches and kills frogs, small fish, and even small snakes. It grabs its prey in a vice-like grip and drives a short, sharp beak into the flesh, injecting a powerful cocktail of digestive enzymes. These enzymes liquefy the prey from the inside out, allowing the bug to drink the dissolved tissue. And they are drawn to electric lights. In the deep summer heat of Louisiana and Alabama, they routinely launch themselves out of the swamps and crash land in parking lots, gas stations, and residential pools. When a human steps on one or brushes against it in the water, the bug does not hesitate. The bite is considered one of the most agonizing insect bites in North America, delivering a searing, throbbing pain that travels up the entire leg and lasts for hours. Number 8 is the creature that reminds you that just because the water is shallow does not mean it is empty. Number 7. The giant vinegaroon. Move west out of the deep swamps and into the dry, unforgiving scrub brush of South Texas and the Trans-Pecos. This is a landscape where everything bites, stings, or bleeds. But if you flip over a flat piece of limestone or a rotting piece of mesquite wood, you might uncover something that looks like it was left behind by a meteor impact. The giant vinegaroon, also known as the giant whip scorpion, is an arachnid that grows to 3 inches long, not counting its long, needle-like tail. It is pitch black, heavily armored, and equipped with a pair of massive, crushing pedipalps that look like industrial pliers. When exposed to the light, it does not immediately run. It raises its rear end, points its tail directly at your eyes, and waits. This is where the denial sets in. People see something that looks exactly like a scorpion and panic, assuming a lethal sting is coming. But the vinegaroon has no venom. Instead, it relies on chemical warfare. When threatened, it sprays a highly concentrated blast of acetic acid from a gland at the base of its tail. The spray is so accurate, it can hit a predator right in the eyes from several feet away, delivering a burning, blinding pain accompanied by the overwhelming, suffocating smell of pure vinegar. They hunt at night, patrolling the borders of campsites and the foundations of homes, crushing cockroaches and crickets in their massive jaws. They are ancient, prehistoric, and completely indifferent to your presence. Number 7 goes to the alien in the dust, the one that fights with acid instead of venom. Number 6. The Chinese mantis. Everyone knows there are praying mantises in the garden. They are sold as natural pest control. They are the charming, slender green insects that children catch in jars. What most people do not know is that the native Carolina mantis is small, barely reaching 2 inches. What you are looking at resting on your porch railing in Georgia is not the native species. It is an apex predator imported over a century ago. The Chinese mantis was introduced to the United States in the late 1800s. Since then, it has slowly marched down the eastern seaboard, finding the heat and humidity of the south to be the perfect hunting ground. They grow to over 5 inches long. They are thick, heavy, and colored in pale greens and dead leaf browns. But it is not their size that makes them unsettling. It is the way they watch you. A mantis is one of the only insects on Earth that can turn its head to look over its own shoulder. When you walk past one, its head swivels, tracking your movement. The dark spots on its eyes, known as pseudopupils, create the illusion that it is making direct, unbroken eye contact with you. And their diet has evolved far beyond garden pests. In the deep south, Chinese mantises have been documented sitting patiently on the bright red plastic of hummingbird feeders. They wait for a bird to hover, and with blinding speed, they strike. Their spiked forelegs lock around the bird's throat, pinning it in place while they begin to eat it alive. They do not fear us. They simply calculate whether or not they can eat us. Number 6 is the insect that does not flee when you approach, but simply watches you back. Number 5. The Texas redhead centipede. We are at the halfway mark of this list, and if you are still with me, you are clearly someone who actually wants to know what is out there. You are not looking for the postcard version of the natural world. You want the truth about the ground you walk on. So this is the moment to subscribe, because the animals from here to number 1 are the ones people flat out refuse to believe are real. If you travel into the Texas Hill Country, or up through Arkansas, there is a creature that tests the absolute limit of what humans can tolerate looking at. The Texas redhead centipede, formerly known as Scolopendra heros, is a nightmare of biology. It grows up to 8 inches long. Its body is composed of dozens of armored, jet-black segments. Its head is a bright, warning red, and its legs are a sickly, pale yellow. It moves with a terrifying, liquid speed, pouring over rocks and up the sides of brick walls like a stream of copper water. People assure themselves that centipedes are just small, damp things hiding under flower pots, but this is a pursuit predator. It hunts lizards, rodents, and small snakes. It is highly aggressive and notoriously hard to kill, protected by its thick exoskeleton. When it strikes, it does not bite with its mouth. It bites with its front legs, which have evolved into hollow, venom-injecting fangs called forcipules. The venom of the Texas redhead is intensely painful, causing immediate swelling, dizziness, and sometimes nausea. But worse than the venom is the way it moves. If one drops from a tree branch onto your shirt, its dozens of legs have tiny claws that dig into the fabric, making it incredibly difficult to brush off. It clings to you, frantic and angry. Number 5 is the reminder that some things in the dark do not just bite, they hold on. Number 4, the tarantula hawk wasp. Now the animals begin to genuinely surprise people, not because they are hidden, but because of the sheer scale of the violence they are capable of. In the brush of West Texas, during the blistering heat of the afternoon, you might see a massive flying insect. It is a wasp, but it is the size of a small bird. Its body is a deep, iridescent blue-black, and its wings are the color of rusted iron. It flies with a heavy, low drone that sounds like a small motor. This is the tarantula hawk. It is not interested in your picnic. It is not interested in your sweet tea. It is interested in hunting down a massive, hairy spider, wrestling it to the dirt, and stabbing it with a stinger that can be a full third of an inch long. The venom does not kill the tarantula. It paralyzes it perfectly, keeping it alive so the wasp can drag it into a burrow, lay a single egg on its abdomen, and seal the tomb. The wasp larva will hatch and eat the spider alive over several weeks, carefully avoiding the vital organs to keep the meat fresh. But sometimes, a human steps barefoot on a tarantula hawk in the grass, or accidentally traps one against their skin. The resulting sting is ranked as the second most painful insect sting on the entire planet. Entomologist Justin Schmidt, who created the Sting Pain Index, described the pain as instantaneous, electrifying, and totally debilitating. The official medical advice for a tarantula hawk sting is to simply lie down on the ground and scream, because the pain is so absolute that you will likely lose coordination and hurt yourself if you try to walk. It does not kill you. It just introduces you to a level of agony you did not know your nervous system could process. Number 4 is the winged executioner that owns the afternoon heat. Number 3, the Joro spider. We move from an ancient, native predator to something entirely new. Something that has rewritten the landscape of the South in less than a decade. If you walk through the woods of northern Georgia or the Carolinas, you might notice that the trees look different. Between the branches, spanning distances of up to 10 feet, are massive, multi-layered webs made of golden silk. Sitting in the center of these webs is a spider the size of a human hand, colored in bright neon yellow, blue, and red. The Joro spider is an invasive species from Asia, first spotted in Georgia around 2014. People thought invasive species took centuries to spread. The Joro spider proved them wrong. They are expanding their territory at a terrifying rate, largely because they travel by ballooning. The newly hatched spiders spin a thin thread of silk, catch the wind, and fly for dozens of miles before dropping out of the sky into a new forest. They are harmless to humans. Their fangs are too small to easily pierce human skin. But that is not why they are on this list. They are on this list because of the psychological weight of their numbers. In some counties in Georgia, you cannot walk a single trail without using a stick to clear away the golden webs. They build their nests on front porches, across driveways, and over the roofs of cars. They are a visible, undeniable reminder that the ecosystem is shifting under our feet. We thought we had a handle on the wildlife in the South, and then a hand-sized, neon spider fell out of the sky and blanketed the entire state. Number 3 goes to the invader that is slowly painting the southern canopy gold. Number 2, the Texas brown tarantula. There is a quiet agreement in the modern world. We agree that roads belong to cars and wild things belong in the grass. But every summer, in the deep heat of July and August, that agreement is broken in the most dramatic way possible across the plains of Texas and southern Oklahoma. Number 2 is the Texas brown tarantula, a spider so large and so heavy that it walks with the slow, deliberate gait of a mammal. Most of the year, they stay hidden in deep, silk-lined burrows. But late in the summer, the males emerge to look for a mate, and they do not come out in dozens. They come out in thousands. During a mass migration, the roads and highways of the Southwest become covered in a moving carpet of brown, hairy bodies. They are so large, reaching leg spans of 6 inches, that cars running over them actually create slick, hazardous conditions on the asphalt. The danger of the tarantula is not in its bite. Its venom is weak, comparable to a bee sting. The danger lies in its defense mechanism. The abdomen of the tarantula is covered in thousands of tiny barbed bristles, known as urticating hairs. When a dog sniffs it or a human leans in too close, the spider uses its back legs to rapidly kick a cloud of these invisible hairs into the air. If they get into your eyes or your lungs, the barbed hairs embed themselves deeply into the soft tissue, causing severe irritation, respiratory distress, and potential long-term damage. You do not even have to touch the spider to be hurt by it. Number 2 did not just survive the heat of the South, it thrives in it, moving in numbers so vast they literally stop traffic. It is the creature that refuses to stay in the shadows, and that leaves just one. The final insect on our list. The one I warned you about at the very beginning. The one that does not wait out in the woods, but actively seeks out the spaces you inhabit. Number 1. The pantropical huntsman spider. You close the front door, you lock it, you turn on the air conditioning, you look at the clean, painted walls of your Florida home, and you feel secure. The perimeter is sealed. But here is the catch. The perimeter was breached hours ago. The pantropical huntsman spider, scientifically known as Heteropoda venatoria, is not native to the United States, but it has made itself incredibly comfortable along the Gulf Coast and throughout Florida. It is a monster of an arachnid, with a leg span that can easily exceed 5 inches, easily covering an adult human's hand. It is colored in mottled browns and grays, with a dark, distinct mustache marking across its face. But what makes the huntsman the undisputed king of this list is its anatomy and its behavior. Most massive spiders, like tarantulas, are heavy and thick. They cannot climb smooth walls easily. The huntsman is different. Its body is incredibly flat, and its legs are jointed so they spread outward rather than downward, like a crab. This allows it to squeeze into gaps that seem physically impossible for a creature of its size. It does not spin a web. It does not sit in a corner and wait for a fly. It is an active, roaming hunter that relies on raw, terrifying speed. It is capable of moving several feet per second. When you turn on the bathroom light in the middle of the night and see a 5-inch spider resting on the mirror, the shock is visceral. But the true horror happens when you blink, and it is gone. It moves so fast it appears to teleport. Because it seeks out heat and shelter, it frequently makes its way into human vehicles. People living in the Deep South have countless stories of pulling down the sun visor in their car while driving at 60 miles an hour, only to have a huntsman the size of a dinner plate drop directly onto their lap. It hides behind framed photographs in your hallway. It rests flat against the underside of your patio furniture. It is not highly venomous. It will not kill you. But it is the ultimate violation of your space. You check your shoes. You shake out your towels. But you can never be absolutely sure that it is not resting, flat and silent, just out of your line of sight. Number 1 goes to the hunter that you brought inside, the one that proves the walls of your home are just a suggestion. So here is what this list is really about. It is not about fear. It is about the quiet agreement we make with ourselves to ignore the reality of the ground we live on. We pave over the swamps, we build subdivisions over the scrub brush, and we tell ourselves that the wild things have either died out or moved on. We call them bugs. It is a comforting word. It implies something small, something you can manage. But the eastern Hercules beetle is still crashing into the porch light, the giant water bug is still resting at the bottom of the deep end, the tarantula hawk is still patrolling the Texas brush, and the huntsman spider is still perfectly flat against the back of your bedroom door. These places were never really tame. The heat and the humidity never stopped breeding giants. They just let you believe they did. If this changed the way you will walk out onto your porch tonight, subscribe and stay for the next video. And the next time you turn off the light and the house feels just a little too quiet, remember why. You were never alone out here. You just thought you were.